Hi, welcome back to Zoke. In this build, I'm going to show you how to use a button to control your builds. Oftentimes, so far, we've controlled everything using the Arduino. We had to program it to make it do a certain thing. Now, we can also use a push button. In this case, anytime I push it, this light will turn on. And really what it's doing is it's activating the program that is on here. And it's running one program right now, and when I push this, it's running another program. Come and take a look at how we built it, and then I'll walk you through the code. Let's go. All right, you can see first that I've basically just made a simple light, a simple circuit for this. Running from pin 13 through this blue wire, I'm connected to the anode on the LED. Then the LED is connected to the resistor. The resistor is taking us back to the power rail, and then from the power rail to the ground on the Arduino. And that runs a simple light. To run a button, you put a button across the ravine, like this. And then we take a resistor and plug that also into the ground. And this functions as what's called like a debouncer, because when I push that button, there's going to be like a variance in the amount of electricity that's flowing, and that helps regulate that. And then I'm also going to run from the other side of that pin, or the other side of the button, back to the 5 volt, and this supplies a steady voltage. Because this pin has no voltage coming through it, then I need to supply it myself. And then because when that button is pushed, I need to take that voltage change, and that's what it's reading. And that reading is getting pushed into pin 2. Now pin 2 is not an output in this case, it's actually an input, and that's important to know. Anytime I push the button, the voltage change here is causing the Arduino to read that change, which is causing it to run a different program. Alright, so actually let's take a look at the program now. Alright, we're taking a look right now at the first program called Pushbutton. In this one you'll notice a couple of changes that you're not used to, and one of those is called a constant integer. And that allows us to make an integer that can't change. That if down the code we were to write something that says plus plus, as in like what we've done before, we're adding something to something. Well, in this case, it won't change that variable. Not important for this build in particular, but it's there. We're also declaring where that button is at. We're just giving it a variable, and that variable does change. And that's why we're calling it an integer, not a constant integer. Okay. Another change you'll see is that the push button is called an input. In this case, it is not going to output data. It can't cause something to change, but it does take in data, and the Arduino is going to interpret that. Inside the loop, that button state, when it reads that push button, in this case, it's going to read it. When it reads a certain value, that's going to cause the program to change. In this program, this is an if statement. We've used those before now. This if statement says if it equals high, which in this case, if it is pushed, that button state will cause the if statement to run the code inside of that statement, which will turn it on for 100 milliseconds and back off. And it's turning off so quickly that anytime I push the button, it seems like it's running that same program. That's one variation of the push button, but there's actually a better one. And when you're looking at the actual build, you don't see too much of a difference. But when you're looking at the code, there is. Everything from the if statement up is the exact same as the last set of code. But now I'm using an else statement. And this else statement is saying if something doesn't happen, in this case, if the button is not high, go to low. And this allows it to occur quicker. Alright, that's how you use a button.